Hello and welcome yet again to this new year, this brand new year, Fat Talks, courtesy of Fidelis Leadership Institute. My name is Lynn, Komugisha, and I welcome you to the new year, but most importantly, to our very first Fat Talks of the year. And we kickstart with very interesting conversations because it is something that we need to do as Fat Talks. Fat Talks, we talk about issues that elevate us to better people, taking in the fact that we are faithful, available, and teachable. And that is what Fat Talks is all about. And so we get to sit, we get to conversate. I borrowed that word. I've never understood what it means, but most people like using it. And it seems to make sense to some people. So today we are going to speak about a very interesting topic, most importantly, because everybody at the new year was like, I have my resolutions. I saw people in church with a whole list. Others had written and said, New Year, new me things. I'm like, guys, I mean, every year you do New Year, new me. I mean, for how long are you going to do that? But today, I want us to stay focused. I want us to stay on the fact that we are faithful, available, and teachable. And that means that we are talking issues of mindful productivity. And mindful productivity is not just a word. Our guest is going to remind you that it is not about the academics of mindful productivity. It is about being intentional and doing things the right way. So if you've just joined us on our Twitter spaces or X spaces now, I thank you so much. Go to Fidelis Leadership Institute. You will find us there and join in. But before I can introduce our guest for the day, allow us remind you that Fidelis Leadership Institute, we are still doing the FAT Leadership Fellowship. And of course, applications, we're calling for applications for our third cohort, that's 2nd February this year. If you want more information, you just go to our website, and that is www.fidelis /institute, I beg your pardon, /institute.org. And that is Fidelis Leadership Institute on our website. You get all the details of the email, of the phone numbers, and the rest that you might need. So we are looking at raising leaders that are faithful to their values, available to serve their communities. Just apply. Away from the FAT Leadership Fellowship, we also have a very exciting one that is coming up at the Fidelis Leadership Institute, and that is going to happen next week. It is the Children's Leadership Training. Guys, your children are on holiday. Some of you are struggling with what to do for them. Some of you do not even know how to deal with the children. You just leave them for the maids and the house managers. But there's a lot you could do for them and help them achieve. Now, the children's leadership training is happening on the 18th of January, and that is next Thursday, ages 7 to 13 years, and then from 13 to 18. That is what we have. So join us, come, and I'm going to still go to our website for more information. We have limited slots available. Just get your 50K, okay? Pay for that child. Trust me, they will not leave that space the same, because at Fidelis Leadership Institute, we're focused on raising the next faithful, available, teachable generation that you'll be proud of. And I could go on, I'll be telling you more about that because we have very interesting partners in regard to that. Now, back to the issue and to the business at hand, and that is the FAT Talks today. Sitting with me today is a lady that most of you have seen, by the way. She's part of FLI, and we get to do a lot of Fidelis Leadership Institute things with her. But apart from that, she's something else. She's not just a coach. She's not just a lawyer. Yes, an advocate of the law. She's a mentor. She's also a consultant. And her name is Mariam Nanza Yiga. I like her middle name, and I'm yet to find out. I've never asked her what it means, but Nanza, pleased to have you today.
Thank you, Lynn. Good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to.
How do you feel about our very first Fat Talks today?
I'm feeling very fat in the real sense because, like, we were speaking of air. People have said, and I confirm that it doesn't feel like a normal January.
Yes.
Yeah, so it looks like we're in for an interesting 2024.
I thought I was the only one feeling it.
Yes, so I'm open to receiving and seeing things this year.
Right. Please, viewers of our SPAC 24, we're glad that you joined us from wherever you are across the East African region and Africa and maybe the world at large. We're all excited for NAM and G77, and Uganda now there's a spotlight on Uganda, and we want to be focused on us as we start the year. People in Nyanza often set goals. I'm sure you've set goals as well. But my question right now is because oftentimes midway the year, people say, guess what? We cannot, I don't know, I lost track of my resolutions. And for us at Fast Talks, I want to believe that we're saying, can we be more focused? Can we be, it's not about the resolutions, is it?
No, it isn't.
Let me ask. So the question here is, as we get into the new year, what should we be focused on? Is it the same old story, the resolutions? Is it the same old story of new year, new me? Is it the same old? What should we be focused on?
Thank you very much, Lynn. And I'm glad that the topic speaks for itself. It says mindful productivity. The operative word being mindful will take us ourselves back to the last year, but also not just the last year, being a post-COVID year. Effectively, 2023 was the first year kind of got back to not what was normal, but a new normal.
Yeah.
But also before that, in COVID, we had a lot of new self-discoveries happening at a personal level, at a professional level, and at a corporate level. The family unit discovered things about itself that it didn't know.
Right.
Individuals discovered things about themselves that they didn't know. So everybody comes out of COVID with a different understanding of who they were before COVID.
Okay.
Some of us took on gigs. So 2023 now became a gig economy. Then we took on, we discovered talents and giftings that we have. Others, we are being forced into shouldering more responsibility because of the unfortunate circumstances of job loss, of becoming household leaders inevitably. So this whole mindfulness, last year we were really catching straws, so to speak, because everybody was waking up to this new era that we've never lived before, with new knowledge, lots of it, I must say, especially in the era of social media, and an urgency, so to speak. There was a general sense of urgency to do something, be something, as though to catch up. Therefore, this conversation on mindful productivity couldn't come at a better time, right after COVID, when we are stabilizing, so to speak, in a new normal. Why this is important is because we have to keep it true to ourselves, irrespective of the new knowledge and new challenges that we found either at the unit of a family or individual or corporate or even as a nation. The principles remain, the basics remain. The principles of productivity and efficiency remain. It comes down to understanding what a healthy balance is for you based on goals. You talked about resolutions, and productivity and resolutions work in tandem. If we are not mindful and we just amass goals, the same thing we want to do now becomes the same thing that paralyzes us. You get overwhelmed instead. So mindfulness means being fully aware of your why, in my opinion, why you set out to do that.
Being fully aware of your why.
Your why.
I want you to just pause a little bit. When you say fully aware of your why, first of all, do people actually identify their whys and really know this is my why, because Nanza, you might know, I might know, but I want the viewer and the listener out there to understand, why is the why very important?
Thank you, Lynn. The why is very important because first and foremost, it gives you the clarity for your goal. If you don't know the why, they say when you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there, but you'll end up going nowhere. So knowing where you're going and why you're going there now becomes the fuel, because anything you achieve is very challenging. From the smallest task of, even if you're a stay-home mom, to the biggest one, if you're a CEO in some Fortune 500 company, it's challenging. So if you don't have the motivation in the why, then you wake up wondering, what is it I have to do? Then you get into a compliance mode. You just do things to get by, and at the end of the day, it's not sustainable. There is burnout, there is getting worn out. But this is what I wanted to add. In the mindfulness, it is about knowing what is your priority for that season. We talk about work-life balance. We talk about the balancing act. These days we have a lot of self-care. It's a scale. It's a scale. It's easy to tip over to too much self-care that you're not productive at all, or too productive that you ignore yourself. So if you ask me what is a healthy balance, I will borrow what I would think is my best definition of balance from a lady I really admire. She's called Priscilla Shire. She talks about a balance, especially in motherhood, but it can work across any field, whether you're a CEO or you're just a young leader trying to balance school and life, or you're a hustler trying to handle many gigs. Is knowing what your priority is it for that season. It's not all about having 10 balls in the air and juggling. You're not a magician like the guys at the circus. It's about knowing which of these 10 do I need to bring for the set at this stage, in the center stage. When you bring it to the forefront, give it your 100%, and then you juggle it back until another priority comes with, not trying to keep everything afloat, because you have limitations as a human being. So that is where awareness comes in. For this season, what are my 1, 2, 3s? Not that the 4, 5 don't matter, but get this done very well, having at the back of your mind that 5, 6 exist, and then keep juggling them around, not trying to balance everything at hand.
You know, the other day when you talk about juggling things, I was listening to some very wonderful speakers, and they said that lately, you know, we're good at multitasking, and you want to juggle a lot of things at once, and you think you're going to be good at it. But they said that the latest multitasking is actually focus.
Focus is the new multitasking.
Nice. So you focus your energies on something you know is going to be productive, and you do not, because if you multitask, chances are you might lose on all those things. And as they try to explain, it sort of made sense, because if you need to focus as a human being, then you need to, as you draw your resolutions, or as you draw your whys, as you've put it, you need to focus. I'm not saying that you don't focus on all those 1, 2, 3, I don't know how many. You can focus without necessarily losing balance. Like you said, it could tip. So, Nanza, as I plan my whys, as I focus on my mindful productivity, informing my why might need some sort of strategies to apply. What would you say is the best way to approach my mindful productivity? So if I'm being mindful in whatever I'm doing, what do I need to focus on? Is it my health? What do I do with that? If that is, I have work, I have a lot of things. What strategies do I need to apply?
Yeah, that's a very simple question, but the answer is not that easy.
Okay.
Because when we talk strategy, allow me to say that strategy is a luxury, so to speak, to some people. Yes, we have to bear in mind that people find themselves choosing what they're choosing or not choosing what they ought to choose because of the circumstances. So the first step is to have an authentic audit of where you are. We are in an era where people have I want to call it MPD, not the psychology term, but we have a Facebook page.
This lady has a number of abbreviations for almost everything.
So we have a multi-person, we live in a multi-person dispensation where you have a Facebook persona, you have a work persona, you have a wifey persona, and you live in the juggle of all those people.
Right.
So the first thing I think is an authentic audit, and I want to be very honest with you that that's one thing that has led me to my most peaceful year thus far, which was 2023, because I sat with myself. You see, you were trying to introduce me, and for a while you can't even place me in a box. You kept saying mentor, lawyer, coach.
Yeah.
Because I think I am a reformed multitasker. If there's such a thing, yes, let me tell on myself. At a certain stage and a season, I was just amassing info and knowledge and qualifications and aspirations. And sometimes we need to just be careful what we ask for, because God will definitely answer those prayers.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with your blessings until the blessings become a burden. So to answer your question on strategy, again, once you have an authentic audit of where you are, it helps you understand where you are going, because you now know where to put your best energy, best resources. The resources we have are time, talent, and treasure. If you know where you're going, you know what you spend your time on, where you're going to put your talent on, and your treasure. Treasure could be finances or any other thing.
Time,
talent, and treasure.
Very important things. Very important. Those of you who are joining us, we are talking mindful productivity, and she just ended on three interesting T's: time, treasure, and
time, talent, and treasure.
Time, talent, and treasure. And I'm sorry to have cut you short for that, but I needed us to pause a little bit and understand the 3 T's now that we are focusing on as Fast Talks here. Go on. So we have 3 T's. So we are focusing on our time, talent, and treasure, and we know, and we want to know how to make them useful to us.
Okay, thank you once again. So to be able to know where you're spending, because just like in accounting or anything, the outcome is determined the minute you do the input. So where are you putting now? Because if you put your time in work only, then maybe your talent will go to waste. You'll be a CEO who always said, I wanted to do a cooking class, I wanted to do a daycare. So you will have the money but be unsatisfied. So time, talent, and treasure now then be spread across what you value most. What is your value? We have family, we have faith, we have finances, we have friends. And all those 5 now become like the processing system. It's like the bakery for which your time, treasure, and talent now give you a dividend. Absolutely. Which is either efficiency or happiness or health or restfulness, so that you can maintain a vitality throughout the year. So if you get your time, talent, and treasure and dump it in one area of the family, friends, finances, and or your faith. I'm trading very gingerly in an area where everybody wants to go to church or some kind of faith thing.
Yeah.
We've since learned that even the people we follow in whether Christianity, all were working people, be they the prophets, be they the disciples, everybody had a trade, I think. So how we use the time, talent, and treasure then in these 5 spaces becomes what becomes the reward at the end. I go back to the issue of not having it oversimplified for all of us. Some people have talent, but they have to work. They have to work and put the talent on hold in the bid to survive, which is a reality for many, especially young people, old people, post-COVID.
Actually, some people going to work and forget they have talent.
That day.
Yeah.
Yet we also forget that the talent is when you do something you're passionate about, it gives you some rare kind of fuel, some energizing to go and be a better, whether person at work or you're a business leader. So the goal again is to find a healthy balance.
Absolutely.
But the mindfulness means it is unique to you and the season you're in. I can't emphasize that enough, because what you were mindful of 3 years ago is different from what you are now.
You actually mentioned a very interesting thing. Again, I was going through some of the people I follow, and one of them is Mr. Tony Otor, and he says work. He was quoting somebody as well, and it caught my attention. He says, "Work is what you enjoy doing." Guys, we need to redefine work. It just hit me that you need to redefine work, because in as much as you're focusing on your work, it does redefine what work is for you. And it says work is what you enjoy doing. A job is where you will clock in and you will retire from it. It hits so hard that whereas we keep saying work, I'm going to work, but are you enjoying that work? Most people saying, I'm going to work to just manage to get the money at the end of the month, which means they're not enjoying. But if you are focusing on a job, remember that is a job you clock in and you retire from, then you become so focused on what you need to put your energies into. Now, Nans, as you said, you mentioned some F's somewhere.
Family, faith, friends, finances.
What are those? Okay, we know. We know. Certainly we know. But what are those? Well, how am I supposed to group them? In what form and why?
I really don't want us to overcomplicate this and be hung up on groupings and 3Fs and 5Ds. No. What we just want to understand that because we all have time, talent, and treasure, where we spend it, look at it as money in your wallet. Where you spend it becomes the bakery. I'm a chef on the side. So I think everything in terms of food, what you put in, when you put it in, matters. I keep joking with my kids and my family that I can tell at what stage they put which ingredient based on the outcome.
Yes,
you can know when the garlic was put, at what point. If the child skips a spice and puts it when the stew is ready, you'll taste the rawness. So this time, talent, and treasure, when you know the season you're in, you kind of understand the combo of where I should be putting what. We have this even in parenting. Where we have a phase where we know that if we don't put this into my child right now, you blink and they're gone. Look at us, it's already 11th January. Just the other day we were blowing fireworks.
I know.
But also for you to say that I'm just focusing on the parenting phase and you forget the talent, your giftings and callings. True as it is, when these kids go, you'll be an empty nester. We spoke about it with somebody when we spoke about finances on this very show. So if you spend your first 30 years investing in kids alone and you forget to build the friends, they will go with lots of love and everything you put in them. And then you'll be that clingy parent or that bored housewife or that sad human being. So the mindfulness is knowing that in this season, while I am a mother, I have to leave maybe 80% for parenting and 20% for discovering or growing my talent or whatever it is that I'm gifted at. And on and on and on. You keep dividing that. But when we go back to the issue of when you said, I still want to speak to the people who are feeling overwhelmed at the beginning of the year, that they don't have a choice. Either it is talent, or work, or you know what I mean? For those listeners out there who feel overwhelmed by lack of choice, lack of options, it's totally understandable. Two things I would say to them. One, don't give up completely the fact that you can find a healthy balance between what brings bread and butter and what fuels you as a person. If you acknowledge that bread and butter can be sustained to the degree that you are sustained as an individual, then you will decide, if not now, keep the dream on the radar. And remember, starting small is better than not starting. If you have, and I don't even want to use music because it's really been overrated as an extra fuel. Everybody wants to sing, but there are other things, other arts, other sciences, other giftings. Find ways to incorporate that. If you don't have the luxury of an 8 to 5 job, use them on the job where you are.
Wow, hold that. Hold that
Exactly
thought.
where you are.
Hold that thought, Nanza. We're going to take a break here at Smart 24, and we urge you to join our spaces at Fast Talks, that is an X spaces. Join us as well as on Fidelis Leadership Institute and be part of this conversation. And she's talking about what people call the side hustles.
Side hustle, oh yes.
I want you to hold that thought. Let's take a break. We'll return with more conversations here with Nanza, and we're looking at mindful productivity. Thank you for joining us here on Smart 24 and, of course, our Twitter spaces. We'll be right back.